All right, welcome to the Bible Bearded and Bald. This is part one of a long series on the life of Christ. We'll be looking at his life chronologically, all the major events in his life, his parables, his teachings, his sayings, and all the little weird situations that he got into, as well as his miracles. We'll be starting at the beginning with his pre-existence and then his birth and chronology and all that. And today, where we're going to start is right in John chapter 1. John chapter 1, verses 1 through 3 says that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him there was not anything made that was made. So the word for word is logos. And what that is encapsulating, it kind of links with Greek philosophy. The Greek philosophy was always looking for the logos, the true word of the divine. And so that identified with Greek culture a lot, which was very much present in Christ's day in Palestine. And the word logos, I mean, it really is showing that Christ was God's thoughts made audible. Let that sink in for a minute. God's thoughts made audible. You want to know what God's like? Look at Christ. You want to know how God thinks? Look at his words. So if God is love, Christ is love, because it also says that the Word was God. So, and that doesn't mean that he used to be God. It means that he was God in the past, and he's still God throughout his ministry. There's many references to his divine nature throughout the Gospels and of his pre-existence. So, the introductory part of the gospel, the first event, is not just John 1, 1 through 3. It continues on in the next couple verses. It talks about John the Baptist, how he was preordained to prepare the way for the Messiah. But then it says something very interesting. It says, he came to his own, and his own rejected him, meaning his own people. And of course, we know all of his own people didn't reject him. The disciples themselves were Jewish, and but many others rejected him. But then it says that, but as many as received him, he gave them the right to become the sons of God, who were born not of the flesh, but of the Spirit. And so we have that choice today. Do you want to receive him or not receive him? If you receive him, in heaven's eyes, you become a son of God. It's interesting because Adam was called son of God. When you become connected with Christ, who is really the second Adam, because he takes over where Adam left off. Where Adam sinned and screwed up in the garden, Jesus started at that point. He was tempted in the same ways, and he got the victory. So rather than live by our sinful inheritance with Adam, through accepting Christ, he pays the sinful debt that Adam caused, Adam and all of his descendants. And you know, I don't have it against the guy. I mean, I sin, and I know how hard it is. But sin has infected our race with, it's a virus like Ebola or AIDS. That's the way I look at it. But Jesus came as the second Adam to start over, and he became, it was the Logos, God's thoughts made audible. But then it says if you accepted him, you can become a son of God. The final point is further down in verses 14 through 16. It says that the Word became flesh. Now that's huge. God himself became a human being. The Word became flesh, and it says he dwelt among us in the King James. That's not the best way to translate the Greek word skeno. And the Greek word skeno means to tabernacle with, to set up one's tent with. And what God did, God became a human being. He set up his tent in human flesh, and he walked and lived among us. And if you ever feel like you're treated unfairly, I want you to look at how Jesus was treated. He was treated unfairly his whole life. God in human flesh. So these are the three takeaways. Number one, Jesus had a pre-existence. And he was became God's thoughts made audible. And God became a human being. He took over where Adam left off. And if we receive him, we can become sons of God. This is part 1A.